Hey girl,
Hey,
how's it going?
it's going good. Feeling blessed.
Yes.
I feel like not so much has happened, but
Mhm.
but feeling good. You know what I mean? Feeling good, and
Yeah.
things are just flowing. Just taking everything day by day with my church, with work, and just like
Yeah.
my in between moments. So I'm feeling good. How about you?
Yeah. I feel good too. I'm excited. This is officially our last episode for season 4. Is it season 4? Season
Yes, season
4. That
4.
wow. Crazy
I
actually a little
know.
bit.
Yes, just like Crystal mentioned, this is the last episode. So I personally feel so grateful to God that
Yes.
during this transition of being in two different states, it worked out. It produced a beautiful season. I love looking back to the episodes and seeing just kind of like the word that God brought, to the season and to like the
Yeah.
season that we are in personally. And so I'm just very grateful that we were able to complete the season. We were able to do it, with the technology and the help with Margarito and just kind of like going, enduring, you know what I mean? Because there could be some moments of like discouragements. There can be some moments of like the change can sometimes overshadow what we are trying to do. So I feel very blessed
Yeah.
that we were able to have this episode or half the season, right, and to see the support from you guys. So it was really cool. And I feel like one thing that I want to point out for season 4, at least for me, is we were able to see like the importance of obedience. Like I feel
Yeah.
like every time we finish recording, like either Chris or myself would be like, did you notice that this was focused on like obedience? And I'm like, it's so true. And I feel like where we are now in like today with society and just things going on in the world, I feel like God is trying to bring more light into obedience, because what's to come, we need to do more than just showing up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And doing more than showing up is obedience. So I feel like I feel very grateful that God was able to use us as instruments to be able to show and tell the importance of why obedience is very important, and to know that obedience looks different for everybody. And so, yeah, I feel very grateful for this season.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of interesting how we didn't even like plan to talk about obedience every time,
Mm-mm. Yeah.
but we always just ended up in obedience, and I think that
Yes.
that is very intentional. God is intentional, and
Mm-hmm.
obedience is very, very important. It was like
Mm-hmm.
a whole little segment in itself of like obedience,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I really like this season because we took it was very like what we were living in the moment. I feel like the seasons before, well, season 3, we had guests, so it was like learning from other people, and then season 2 we had topics that we wanted to discuss. But I feel
Yes.
like this season was very like now, like what are you doing now, like what are you navigating today, what are you going through this week. And I think that that was very very real, very good. And I like that. I was going to say I feel like we're always saying that we're going through difficult times, but I feel like that is the realness of walking with God, And
Mm-hmm.
I think that this season really highlighted the realness of it, the
Mm-hmm.
in-between moments, the difficult battles that we face in our day-to-day life. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that it was intentional. It was
Mm-hmm.
intentional to speak about how we navigate the ups, the downs, the in-betweens. And I think that this season was a blessing, and I'm just grateful to God that he gave us the boldness and just led us through so we could speak about what we were going through while still learning to navigate it.
Yes, that's a really good point, because it's so true. Like whenever we started the season, um, I was in transition of moving into the new state. We received the new year. Right now we're like in the month of April, so I feel like we were able to target like different periods, I guess you can say,
Mm-hmm.
of this like season. So it was really cool to be able to talk about like what I'm going through with transition into like a new state, a new church, a new season in my life. I love to hear the realness that Crystal would point out of, hey, this week I'm not having a good week. You know what I mean? And this is what it looks like to me. This is how I'm navigating it. So I feel like it was also like a learning lesson for both of us, because I feel like we got to see different point of views of our walks and like how God orchestrates either a
Mm-hmm.
good week or either a bad week, a revelation, a breakthrough. So just like just like what Crystal said, like it was very like you were walking with us during this like season, because just like Crystal said, like majority of with season 1, there were kind of like topics of like what is prayer, what is this, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? In season 2, there were pre-planned topics, so we
Mm-hmm.
weren't necessarily going through them. And then season 3, the guest. But I really liked how this season was just kind of like all of us just sitting down talking, you know what I mean? Just it was kind of like we were all hanging out and like
Yeah.
telling, hey, this is what's going on, like I'm having a really bad week, you know what I mean? Or hey, like I had this revelation yesterday, you know what I mean? And so it was
Yeah.
really cool to be able to have this season, because I feel like it was needed for what's to come. And
Yeah.
so I'm just very grateful. And yeah, so that's why I really loved the importance of like, God pinpointing and just like making the season's point or theme maybe is like being obedience, because I feel
Yeah.
like it was just ministering to us of the season that we are in now. And I feel like in the top of my mind, or the episode that I want to kind of like mention, I feel like it's so hard to kind of like think back, because we do have like maybe like 22, 21 episodes, so I feel like it was a
Yeah.
pretty good long season.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked for example, hold on, let me think, I can't think of like the titles necessarily, but I like the episode whenever like how to navigate when you're feeling behind, how
Oh
to
yeah.
navigate whatever. One of my favorites is the title was I want to be obedient based on love, not obligation. I feel like
Oh,
that was
that one.
such a good episode as
I feel
well.
like I feel like that episode was literally handed by God. He literally was like, Speak."
Yes, literally.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's one of my favorites too.
Yes, yeah. So that one was really good también, or as well. And yeah, just even like the earlier episodes, they were pretty good. I really liked. It's so funny. I can't think of the name of this episode, but it's the episode where me and you were wearing green and red. Do you
Oh,
remember
okay.
that? I
Yeah.
can't think of like the title of it.
Okay.
But yeah, like it was, yeah, just like I mentioned, like a lot of them were good because they had like their own different message and their own different interpretations, and
Yeah.
some of them were just kind of like a sit down of like, hey, like this is what's going on. And even in the episode where I talked about, struggling with my mind, like there was, I feel like that episode to me, I was a little nervous like filming it, because I feel like it brought, I guess you can say like I brought you guys in of like what's going
Mhm.
on in my mental health. You know what I mean? So like I remember that episode, it made me nervous. Like I almost wanted to text Crystal and be like, hey, I actually don't want to post this, because I was feeling shy. I'm like, what are people gonna think? But at the end of the day, I'm like, why care about that? You know what I mean? If our sole reason is not so much to cater to people, it's to cater to the Lord for Him to use us as instruments. So if it's His will to have this episode, then do so. And I loved that there was comments in that episode that they were talking about that, hey, I'm also going through that as well. And so I was just like, praise Jesus, like now I know why there was like pushback in my mind for that
Mhm.
episode, because people needed to hear it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love to see like the comments of like, whoa, like I'm so happy that showing like struggles, it unified us at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So I feel
Yeah.
like that one made me nervous to film and to post, but it was so rewarding to see like, oh, other people got to relate to that, and I was
Yeah.
able to receive like a message of like, hey, I'm praying for you. You know what I mean? And so it was a really cool episode.
Yeah. One that I kind of felt warfare with was the relationship one. Um,
Mm,
I feel like I wanted to text you and be like, let's not post it. Just don't post it. And I feel like
yeah.
I didn't make that many clips about it either. Cuz I feel like just that conversation can be so taboo, you know, and we all have different POVs from that, but I feel like God had a purpose and we did what we had to do. But yeah, I felt warfare with that one. There was a few where I was just like, I don't know, you know, but
Yeah.
I'm glad that God kind of gave us the wisdom and the just
Yeah.
perseverance
Yeah.
to push through and do what he wanted, you know, because he
Yeah.
ultimately we always ask for guidance, you know, and I think that it was just intentional. um
Mhm.
I also remember, I have no idea what episode it was, but that one time where I was in the car in the front of the line and we were stopped because there was road work. I don't know if you remember. And I was in the
Yes.
front of
Yeah.
the line and I was like, should I go? Should I not go? You know, and I feel like that's how it is when we walk. Sometimes when we're the first ones experiencing it, we're like we have all these questions and all these things, you know, but we just have to trust that God has it figured out and you know, just be obedient. And I think that was an interesting one too, where God used literally road work to speak to me.
Yes. Yes, I do remember because I think we were talking about whenever God like showcase himself in like the little details, you know what I mean?
Mm,
Just like
yeah.
the details of him like I think I even talked about whenever we were renovating our restroom, you know, how I also
Yeah.
receive revelation. So like you receiving revelation like in a traffic stop, and then like me with like renovating my restrooms, like it just showcased like how God demonstrates himself through the small things just like as he
Mhm.
does to the big things, you know what I mean? So yeah, like I loved how we were able to also talk about that, because it just shows the importance of like taking him with you, you know what I mean, when you're
Yeah.
driving, when you're at work, when you're at school, wherever you're at, and God will literally be right there helping you out, you know what I mean, with like
Mhm.
those small like random details like in your day. So yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. But I also can't remember exactly what episode it was.
I have
It
no
feels
idea.
like yeah. It's funny because like I'm thinking back and I'm like, oh wow, like we literally did started filming like in November, right? Like September,
Yeah.
November, and for some reason it feels like so far away. So yeah, so that's why it was pretty cool. And I also really liked how we were able to do the recap video of like our 2025, because
Mm.
I feel like it led for me to be intentional for this year. So for if we are filming during like the new year, or even if we're not, I feel like I'm so excited to kind of like talk about what's already going on in this year. So it was really
Mhm.
cool to talk about what we were able to learn for 2025.
Yeah.
Of course, like one episode that's dear to my heart was whenever I got to tell you about my experience of feeling that I took two steps back and God giving me that reassurance, and just kind of like showcasing that even whenever we don't understand God, and I even tell him like I feel frustrated, even though like it's him orchestrating things in my life, and yet I was still telling God I don't like it, and he
Yeah.
still had mercy to be like, let me give you peace, let me give you reassurance that this is for you, the best for you. And he did it, you know what I mean? He gave me reassurance, and I'm seeing the fruits of like him placing me where I am now. And so
Yeah.
I wanted to just kind of like spotlight that, because that's who God is, you know what I mean? Even if you tell him I don't like this decision that you made for me, he's still gonna be like, giving you reassurance, giving you peace. And so I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for his mercy, and I'm so grateful for his love, because he doesn't have to do it, and yet he chooses to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So for me personally, that just pushes me of loving him, of wanting to be obedient to him, of wanting to like just live life with him, because of how loving he is, a love that no human being is able to give us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool that I got to share.
Yeah, and even the episode right before this one where we were talking about not going back,
Mm-hmm.
don't move backwards. I think that one was it was needed. It was very
Yes.
much needed. And
Yes.
I don't know, God is good. I'm excited for what he's doing in my life and what he's doing in the podcast and with our friendship. I know that he has big things to come, and I'm just excited. I still think back, like, this was all just a thought. Like, when I had that conversation with my friend, we were literally in my car just talking. We were just talking. And she was like, "You should start a podcast." I was like, "Girl." And now we literally are going into season 5 of a podcast. And it's like, wow. Like, God knew. And
Yeah.
he prepared us and equipped us for this.
Yeah, that's so true. And I love how, like, she could have said anything, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But she literally, like, was so specific, like, podcast, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really love how God, like, I don't know, like, God orchestrates things, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
feel like maybe it was something that wasn't in our plans. It definitely wasn't in my plans. Like, I've never
Mhm.
had the idea of, like, having a podcast. And now that I do, it feels, like, so beautiful, because, just being an instrument and using things that can reach people, that can help people, because I know that whenever like, because sometimes like a reel pops up, or sometimes like a sermon pops up, and we're able to hear those revelations or confirmations or word from God because of social media, you know what I mean? So being part of like this world is like, it's such a beautiful thing. Like, it's not easy, and sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking and difficult and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but at the end of the day, it's so rewarding, because when you do it for God, like, it's so different from whenever you're doing things for the world, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so yeah, I'm definitely super grateful too, because just like you said, like, we're literally going to like another season, and I'm very excited for the new season. Actually, like, me and Crystal, we have been planning, we have been talking, and just kind of like putting some ideas together. And so, I mean, you guys already know the drill. We're gonna take a month off, and we're gonna be posting recaps so you guys can listen again to some really good episodes. And also during that month, just like I said, me and Crystal, we're going to do some scheduling. We're going to just coordinate some things, because I know that what God has in store for season 5 is going to be something so intentional, and I'm very excited to see it. I'm very excited to like be ministered as well, and I feel like it's going to continue to look different. It's still going to continue to be something that we're still going to try to navigate, since we are still like in different states, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, God elevates it, you know what I mean? And so I'm just very excited to see like how everything's going to be put together. And
Mhm.
of course, like, stay tuned. Like, you can always turn on your notifications whenever we start posting for season 5. You can follow us on our social medias, just so you can be posted of when things are going to get moving. And so yeah, I'm very excited. I don't want to like give away too much. I kind of like, just want to let y'all know that God is very intentional, and that he just has a word, you know what I mean? That he has a word for each and one of us. And so yeah, I'm excited.
I'm so excited. I'm nervous. I'm scared. No, I'm not scared. I feel like I've been realizing how everything we speak, is very powerful, and I'm trying to catch myself because
Yes.
I saw a video the other day that was like the angels have to report to Jesus, to God, um And Satan is an angel. He was an angel. So everything he does, he has to report to God. So nothing gets done if it's not approved by God.
Yeah.
And then she was talking about, sometimes we talk about like the difficult struggles that we go through, the difficult moments that we go through. And it's like, well, it's not that Satan has the power to do that. It's you give him the power when you speak it out. And I was like,
Mm,
whoa, gotta watch my tongue, because when we speak something out, we give the devil the power to use that against us. You know,
yes.
sometimes when we're like, "Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
scared." Okay, now you're scared. You know?
Yes. Yes.
So that's why I'm like, I'm just excited.
Yes.
I'm
No, yes.
excited
Yes.
for what's to
Yes.
come.
And I
Um
feel like, yeah, because I feel like at the end of the day, like, just like we always say, like, I feel like every season we kind of have to walk a little bit to the unknown, and season
mhm.
5 is no exception to that, that we're going to be doing things differently.
Yeah.
But just like Crystal said, like, we're declaring that it's going to be a good season. We're
Yeah.
excited. We're ready. We were able to adapt to all of the new things that the Lord has brought into our podcast, and season 5 won't be any exception. We'll adapt. You guys will be seeing it. We'll be seeing it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes whenever you start a project and you have it in your mind, but you don't actually see it, then you guys already know. You start kind of thinking, would it work out and stuff like that? But we know that it will, because just like Crystal said, like, we're seeing it, and we were like this in the beginning of season 4, and look at us, we're already closing it. We were able to already execute it. We have 22 episodes, you know what I mean? And so just like I said, season 5 won't be an exception to that. It's just going to be different again. And so that's what I love.
Yeah.
That's why I love that God just continues to evolve, you know what I mean, continues to evolve and like help us out into bringing new
Yeah.
things. And so yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Even like when we first started, we were nervous for that as well, and now we're 4 seasons in, like,
Yes.
so it's just trusting God through it.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know, I'm really excited. Um God is good, and I'm so happy that we can use the internet for good. I remember when I was not going to church or didn't really have a relationship with God, I was always really active on my social media. I cared for that stuff. And I feel like as I've grown in Christ, he's kind of removed that desire from me, but I feel like he gave me a platform to speak of his goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And this is enough for me. This is good for me, and I love it. Um and he just kind of like, he knew everything, like he was preparing me even before I was coming to church for this moment. It's so interesting how God just rewires our brains and just changes our desires. Like, now I don't care about my personal profile or anything like that, but we get to use the internet for good. We get to use
Mm-hmm.
the internet to speak goodness, to speak God into the world, and that's a blessing. It's a blessing to use something that can be harmful, but use it for
Mm-hmm.
good. you know
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
shine the light through the internet. It's amazing. I love it. And
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, even you, like, you used to do social media as well, and I know that you wanted to use it for God, and he made that possible as well.
Yes. No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, because that was my prayer. That was my prayer. I'm like, God, if you want me to just delete completely my social media, then I would do it. Because I was already just tired. I was like, I was
Hmm.
tired of it, because I feel like it wasn't showcasing who I was. And I wanted to showcase what my life is, and my life is God, and my life is my walk with God. You know what I mean? And so that's why I feel very privileged that God presented this project to us, so we can be able to continue being creative. You know what I mean? Because I love being creative. I love being able to, like, whenever I do like a new thing and like the editing process, I'm like, wow, like it just feels, I don't know, like I feel like this whole tech person and I feel like a
Yeah.
professional. So it feels really cool being able to be creative for the Lord and to be an instrument, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so definitely, like, I know like God is going to continue to guide us and to continue to grow us because, like, Christian, I guess you can say, like, content, you can say, I feel like we like to take it delicate, we like to be sensitive with it because it's not just like being willy-nilly, you know what I mean? I feel like it takes it being intentional and knowing how
Mm-hmm.
to be respectful and knowing that this is just for God to be glorified and to be honored. And so it feels really cool that we're learning that. It feels really cool to like navigate that. And because just like we both said, we've both done social media differently in the past, and so it feels really cool to learn what God wants and to just be guided by him, you know what I mean? Because there has been so many
Yeah.
things like thrown at us by God, and so I love it whenever that happens. And we always like to put, you know, this podcast in his hands and for him to be the one speaking through us. And so we feel really happy because we also receive, we also get to be like, I don't know if you guys notice, whenever we finish a thought, we're like, wow, that is so good. You know what I mean? Because it literally, it, God just takes over, you know?
Yeah.
And so we feel very privileged about that. And so, yeah, I'm very excited to see like what's to come and how it's going to look like. And of course, like God glorifying himself overall. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah. And so, yeah, we just wanted to kind of like make this, you know, closing episode, just so you guys can kind of see where we are now and like what's to come ahead. And just like I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, you know, you guys are always more than welcome to message us, to leave any prayer requests, leave any comments. We would love to see them. You know, even the few that have, like, we feel so grateful for them because like I know that it takes time, you know, but we are
Mm-hmm.
here to want to build a community. We are here wanting to
Yes.
kind of like establish fellowship and whatnot, because I feel like when there is community, it kind of like helps us know that we're not in this by ourselves, you know what I mean? So just like
Yeah.
feel free to do so. And we are grateful for those who have done it. And we're super grateful for that. Just like I mentioned, we do have a TikTok. You guys can, you know, follow us there. Instagram, we do have an Instagram for audio only. Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I've noticed that Spotify, like it does really good. You know what I mean? Like it does really good. Like I was looking at the numbers and I was kind of like surprised. So it feels really cool that you guys are hearing us, you know, through Spotify. You know, because I know that there is people that prefer just like the audio only aspect of it all. And so of
Yeah.
course we are grateful for those that tune in on YouTube. You know what I mean? I, for me personally, I'm a YouTube girl. Like even when it comes to like sermons, podcasts, I only listen to them on YouTube. But at the same time, it's really cool to see that people are listening as well on Spotify, because I feel like Crystal, you were the one that was telling me, hey, Spotify and Apple Podcast. And so I was like, yes, it's so true. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it's really cool to see like the different comments, you know, the different ways that people are connecting in our podcast, either if that's through audio only or maybe just a 30-second clip in our TikTok or Instagram. So, or even here in our YouTube, you know what I mean? So I feel very grateful that you guys tune in, that you guys are subscribing, following us. And so we're just very happy and grateful for the Lord and for God
Mm-hmm.
to, you know, continue to help you guys out. You know what I mean? For God to
Yeah.
continue impacting you, working in you. And so, yeah, and we're just very grateful. But I'm not sure if you have
Yeah.
anything else
No,
to
yeah.
mention. Yeah.
I feel like it's so cool to like hear us in the car. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I'll like put it on and I'm like, ain't no way that's us. um but yeah, it's really cool. Should we do like a little ASMR moment? ASMR.
Isn't it where like they
You
do
like
like the
yeah.
little, yeah.
There's no way you started tapping your mic.
I don't know if you guys heard that.
I probably did.
Wait, I
It's
think if
because
I take this thing off, you can kind of like hear it more. Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys heard that.
watch it be really loud.
I know, really loud and disturbing. I'm so sorry
Um,
if you guys have this on loud or a speaker or something.
yeah. No, I think it's just so cool. Like sometimes I'll like listen to it just to see what's up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, like this is, it says faith over fear on my car. And I'm like, that's
Yes.
so cool.
Yes. No,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, but I think that's how I listen. I would listen to random podcasts like when I'm driving somewhere, like you just pop that
Mm-hmm.
in and you're being edified while you drive. And
Yes.
yeah, I like that concept too. But I also like watching them because you can see like
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
You can put a face to the voice, and you can
Mm-hmm.
see the facial expressions. I feel like I do a lot of those. Um,
Yes.
but but yeah, yeah. No, this is such a blessing. I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful, and yeah, I'm excited to see what God is gonna do.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited too. But again, just gonna close this episode out, close out the season. Thanking you guys again. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for tuning in. Thank you so much, for being with us in this journey. Just like I mentioned, you can follow us in all of our social media, listen to us through audio only. And so, Crystal, I will see you soon. Bye, girl.
Bye. Bye, girl.
Bye.